And hello, everyone. Good morning to our power scanning session, trying to find top setups for the week ahead. It is January 11th, 2025. My name is Daniel Sinek, and I am welcoming you today from our beautiful office here in Montreal, in Canada. And before we get into it, by the way, it's a snowy day here. It's cold, it's snowy, it's a nice winter day. So, if you like winter, Montreal is always a nice destination. In any case, where are you guys calling in from? Who do we have? Please put your location into the chat box. Oh, 1 second. Where's the chat box? All right, Gregory from Idaho. Gregory, I bet it's snowy there too, isn't it? Aubrey, yeah, from Cyprus, 20 degrees centigrade, blue skies. Good for you, Aubrey. Siegfried aus Wien from Vienna. Hi, Siegfried. Nice to see you. And it's nice to see, you know, the same users are joining us week after week, and sometimes multiple times a week. As you know, we always have our lunch and learn session also on Tuesdays, so it's really cool. All right, a powerful morning from Kentucky from Robert. Hey, Robert, how are you? Awesome. All right, great guys. So thank you so much for sharing your location. Oh, and Edda from Hamburg. Hey, Edda. As mentioned, they're close to where I grew up in Rostock in Germany. And Steven from Singapore. Oh, that must be late over there. Steven, what time is it over there? It must be midnight. I remember when I was in Singapore, the biggest challenge I had was this massive time difference. Everything was reversed. So I think it was the complete opposite. And that was my biggest struggle. Even though the city is super beautiful and definitely at 1 a.m. in Singapore, definitely worth visiting. All right. All right, guys. So we are tradingindicators.com. My name is Daniel Sinek, as mentioned before. And I am joined today by Nicholas. Nicholas joined Trading Indicators about 5 years ago, and he has been instrumental in developing most of our recent innovations. For example, Liquidity IQ, Volume IQ, and indicators in that category. They were all masterminded by Nicholas. And most of what we do is based on what's called technical analysis, which is basically a pattern analysis of your price chart. We believe that fundamentals are so hard to predict. It is not easy, but luckily these are almost immediately priced into your chart. And by analyzing your price chart, you will indirectly also take into account fundamental information. We also believe that the right trading tools can make your trading life easier. And one tool we're going to use today, which is our Liquidity View dashboard, which, as you will see, makes it very easy to find interesting setups for the week and the weeks ahead. And of course, guys, this session is for you. So if you have any questions, please don't hold back. Please put your question into the Q&A box, and we're going to get to those as we proceed through this presentation. All right. And I also need to remind you that trading does contain substantial risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you can actually afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and strategies discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, so with this out of the way, a couple of announcements before we get into it. So you may have been there, but maybe not. We had our live trading workshop yesterday on Friday. It was a great workshop. It was in the aftermath of the non-farm payroll news report, which shook the market quite a bit. We had a huge down move in the markets. And guess what? We leveraged that momentum, the volatility in the market, to live trade it using our Liquidity IQ and Volume IQ indicators. It was a really interesting workshop. We ended up shorting Bitcoin successfully twice at the Bitcoin futures in that workshop. And if you're interested how we did it and which indicators and how we used our indicators we used, check it out. The link is down here. It's on our YouTube page for you to rewatch. And Niklas, please put this link into the chat box as well. All right. So that's that. That's online now on our YouTube channel. The second thing, and you may have seen it in your inbox, we're not very shy when it comes to announcing things, but I'm gonna mention it here again anyways. Finally, and faster than expected, the NT8, the Ninja Trader 8 version of Volume IQ is available. We released it yesterday. Niklas even recorded a nice video about it. And if you want to check it out, how it works and how it looks like on NT8, on Ninja Trader 8, simply go to tradingindicators.com/volume-special. This link is also on the chat. Why special? Well, because we are celebrating the arrival of Volume IQ on NT8 with a 25% discount. So go to this page to see how you can take advantage of this special offer. This also comes with a boot camp for NT8, a masterclass, and an invitation to our next live trading session. All right, but enough about these things. Now let's see what we have planned for today. So we are going to use Liquidity View, our great scanner, to interactively scan for high reward and low risk swing trading setups for the week ahead. I recommend that you guys follow along interactively as well. And the best way to do it is to get access to our dashboard. And all you need to do, we offer a full week trial. Go to tradingindicators.com/view. So once you do this, you can get access to our dashboard, and this is instantaneously. So once you sign up, you get a confirmation email, you can create your account, and about a minute later, you have access to our dashboard. So if you're interested, I encourage you to take advantage of this. Also, and then we're really going to get started, we have a free ebook for you, which you can download at this link down here. This is also going to be pasted into the chat window. It's called The Power of 3, which details the 3 main setups that we're going to scan for today. And what these setups are, how you can find them, and why they work, in our opinion. This is all detailed in this very comprehensive ebook called The Power of 3. And one last thing, I know that's a lot of preface to these webinars. If you have any suggestions about the dashboard or anything else, because we live by your feedback. So if you have any feedback, please don't hold back. Put it into the Q&A box. And oftentimes, we can almost immediately take this feedback into account and translate it into new features for our dashboard, for example. So these are some of the new features we have integrated based on your feedback. So please keep doing that, and we'll be more than happy, if it's possible, to add new features to the dashboard. All right, now, without further ado, let's get into it. And we're going to start with a market review. So let me switch over to our dashboard, if I can find it. Give me 1 second. There we go. So as you know, the dashboard URL is view.tradingindicators.com. Once you log in, it's going to do this real quick here. The dashboard will open up. All right, so it's loading, and we are going to start with a quick market review. So what has happened in the markets? And we're going to start with something, a bit of a conundrum, at least at first glance. So let's have a look at the SPY. All right, so the S&P 500 ETF. So what do we see here? And, we see it's in an uptrend, and we're going to get to this in a second. But the conundrum I want to discuss is, if you look at what happened on Friday. So on Friday, we had a big down day. And if I go to live mode here and look at the, the smaller time frames, yeah, it was a bearish day, very bearish. Why was that day so bearish, you may ask? Especially since the NFP, the non-farm payroll report, came out positive. It came out better than expected. Why did the stock market drop on Friday? It doesn't make logical sense, at least at first glance. But then again, it makes sense once you look further into the implications of this. So the job market came back stronger than expected. More jobs were created. The unemployment rate went down. So that's great news. But the implication of that is that the easing policy in terms of interest rates in the US may be delayed because of this, because of these strong job reports, meaning that the interest rate will stay where they are without any further easing. And this was priced into the market, leading to this big down day on Friday. It's kind of weird how this works. This is why I always say fundamentals are so hard to interpret. Who would know? Who would think about these things? Of course, some people obviously have thought about this, but it's not so obvious. And this is why we typically stick with technical analysis, analyzing your price chart. In any case, so this is out, a big down day on Friday, but nonetheless, if I go back to our IQ chart here, nothing really has changed. So if you look at the SPY a bit more closely, we can see we are still well within our trend channel. So it's an uptrend. We are in a correction. And of course, these are great opportunities to potentially go long the S&P 500 in the anticipation that this uptrend will continue in the medium-term future. But of course, right now we're in a bit of a sideways phase after this all-time high early in December. Prices went down, but nothing dramatic. As long as we stay above this key level here at 567, 568 in the SPY, this uptrend is intact. Should we break it? Well, then we may be in for a deeper correction. But as of right now, there is no evidence of this. So let's see how the next week will unfold. So everything is nice and dandy here with the SPY, but let's have a look at the QQQs. So the QQQs are here, and something interesting happened here. So similar scenario, we made some all-time highs, and then price corrected itself down. But in this case, and what's really interesting here, the correction actually drove price down all the way to that broken resistance level here around 503. And you know what happens, right? So price broke above this level. It initially went up. That's our zone break trade. But then it retraced down to this broken level. And guess what is this pattern here? This is our classic zone break retrace setup. You can also see it here in our scanner, making this a very, very appealing long entry opportunity of the QQQs. And before I forget about this, I'm just going to add this one to our short list of today, because this to me is an interesting setup, because now this broken resistance level is likely to act as support. And if you can hold it, we may see another push to the upwards direction because of that. All right, so let me go to my drop down here, create a new watch list for this week's scans. So setups, 2025 January, and today is the 11th. There we go. So create, and I'm going to add the QQQs to our setup of this week. Definitely something to consider. All right, so these were the QQQs, but let's move on. What about gold? GLD. All right, so gold is in what we call a sideways phase, which is not uncommon after a strong move up, and obviously that move in the past leading to higher highs along the way was very powerful. And oftentimes a move like this is followed by a rather lengthy sideways consolidation phase. And I believe that we are, to some extent, now in that phase where gold will, or may, I should say, may oscillate between support and resistance of this sideways channel. However, it may not always continue like this. We can see it did in the past quite a few times. Bounced off support, bounced off resistance, and so forth. But should we be able to break above this level of 251 here in the GLD in the ETF, we may see a push towards all-time highs. But we need to break this level first. So this is a requirement for this. All right, so that's that for gold. But one more time, one more thing, one more symbol, oil. Let's look at the United States Oil Fund. Oil has been the winner of 2025 so far. I don't know where we started the year, but it was definitely not as high as this one here. So if I go down here a little bit, the year started I guess oil was already a little bit up at around 75. Now we're around 80. So oil has been recovering. Yet, before we get too excited, also oil is in a rather prolonged sideways channel. Look at these lines here. That's a sideways channel. Well, price has been oscillating back and forth. So there's no evidence right now that this is not just another leg up before it drops down again. You can see it here. It worked beautifully in the past. These bouncing, this is exactly our bounce setup. It may happen again. So we are approaching now the upper end of the sideways channel. We may see another bounce further down, at least from a technical point of view. However, should we be able to clear this level, should we be able to clear 83 or 84, we may see another push higher towards new levels. 92 is the next level, or even higher to the hundreds above. So super exciting times. Let's see what happens with oil. All right, so this was our market review. And now I'm going to do something which I haven't done in a while. I'm going to review a couple of the trades that we looked at last week. Not because most of them worked out quite nicely, but also because these were very clean setups. And it's nice to have a bit of a follow-up in case you guys took some of these trades. So for this, I'm going to go to our setups of last week. We had a few of them. And let's just review a couple of them. All right, Apple. So Apple, I liked Apple last week because it was in a zone big retrace state. So Apple, you can see it here. It broke above resistance and then came further down. And last week we were around this level here. Now this has continued further than I expected, but then again, not too far. So it's still very much valid. Price is now right in the middle of this broken resistance level. And I still believe that Apple could be an interesting candidate for another leg higher, especially now that it seems like that this level is holding up. We push down a little bit further. You know, it's not an exact science, but price is now trading right at this level. So should we see some bullish days in the early next week, this could be an interesting opportunity to perhaps re-enter if you got stopped out here, or perhaps you didn't take this trade into the long direction. AJG, Arthur J. Gallagher. Beautiful setup here. Here we call it a bounce setup. This is a long time bullish stock. Price approached support last week right at this level here. And we're saying, hey, this could be a good opportunity of a bounce towards the middle in between support and resistance. And look what happened here, exactly as predicted. Price bounced off this level beautifully. Yeah, very nice there. Then RSG Republic Services, same thing. We were at the lower end of this trend channel. You can see it here. If I zoom out a little bit further, this was drawn last week. And at the same time, we were near a support level. And once again, this bounce worked out beautifully, showing you guys the power of these levels, how they can work. And then my poster child from last week, waste management. Look at this beautiful bounce that we called out. Price went down to the support level and then retraced sharply after hitting this level here. So we were very conservative about this. We said, hey, our stop loss should be all the way down here at 192. Luckily, price didn't even need that much space. It bounced off almost immediately and now trading well above this support level. So, all right. Okay, perfect. So, and Marsh, I'm going to get to this question in a bit. So, I'm just looking at some questions here. Perfect. So this is exactly what we're trying to find for the week ahead as well. So this worked out very nicely last week. Let's try to repeat the same process for this week. So let me go back to my slides real quick. All right, so there was the market review, but now let's find these setups for this week. And once again, we are trying to find setups which are appealing from different perspectives. So they should be technically clean, of course. They should be valid technical setups, but they should also be setups where our profit potential will outweigh what we are risking on the trade. In other words, we are looking for high reward and low risk setups. All right, so this is the objective of today. We're going to be focusing on one setup at a time. We're going to look through 4 different setups. We're going to do it one at a time. If we see something interesting, we're going to add it to our watch list. And then at the end of this webinar, we're going to do a detailed analysis of the symbols in our watch list. So let's get started. All right. So it's called the power of 3. And now, as of late, also the power of 3 plus. Because in addition to our 3 classic setups, bounce, zone break, and zone break retrace, we are also adding the healthy pullback setup to the mix. Therefore, the power of 3 plus. We're going to start with the healthy pullback. So healthy pullback is happening when we are in a strong uptrend. For example, you can see a long-term uptrend, but price has retraced since it made an all-time high. So you can see it here, it went down, which can be a great re-entry opportunity. And we can find these setups by looking at our trend radar indicator, which is able to find these healthy pullbacks. And depending how deep the pullback is, we are differentiating between different levels of pullbacks, like a level 2 pullback, level 3 pullback, or a level 4 pullback. So how this works and how we can find these interesting stocks, let's check it out together now. So back to the dashboard. All right, I'm going to go to our end of day scanner, scanning through all the symbols. You can see it here. And we said, okay, we are looking for stocks which are, first of all, in a long-term uptrend. So which indicator can we use to find stocks which are trending up? Well, MA Rush comes to mind. So I'm hiding Liquidity IQ here, but MA Rush shows us this directly on the price chart. If I scroll back here, you will see that MA Rush, gosh, I have to go a bit further back. Boy, this is a long-term trending stock. You can see MA Rush shows us with labels on the chart whether the trend is currently bearish or bullish. And we can filter for this by simply going to our MA Rush column here, click on filter and select bullish. And once you do this, we're only going to be seeing bullish stocks where MA Rush has an upwards facing green arrow here. So of our 4,922 stocks, 2,746 stocks are currently in a bullish trend. All right, great. That's step number 1. Step number 2, we want to find stocks which are currently in a pullback state, where trend radar down here is in a pullback scenario. So for example, this one here, applied opto elect. You can see it here, it went up, yes. So it went up, but recently it came down a little bit. And you can see here in trend radar, very nicely, if I make this a bit bigger, the first 3 rows of trend radar are red. These are the shorter term trends, while the last 2 rows are green, which are longer term trends. In other words, the long-term trends are still bullish, but we've seen a bit of a pullback. Depending on how many of these red rows we have, it's either a level 3 pullback, a level 2 pullback, or a level 4 pullback. Here an example of a level 4 pullback. Apple. We discussed Apple. Yeah, Apple is, you can see it, it's a bit hard to see, but the last row here is indeed red. It's a bit hard to see, but you can see it down here. Oh, it's overlapping with it. If I make this a bit bigger, and see here, this is actually red down here. If I zoom this out, so here, the last 4 ones are red. That's a level 4 pullback within a strong uptrend. And if you look at the history, these are not uncommon. In fact, these are great opportunities to re-enter into a long trade. And that's exactly where Apple is right now, for example. All right, so with our dashboard, we can filter for symbols which are currently in a level 4 pullbacks. I'm going to go here and say level 4. I'm not like level 4, I like these deep pullbacks. So now we're down to 258 stocks of our originally 4,922 stocks. So quite a few of them are in a level 4 pullback. But you know what? There's one more thing I'd like to see. I would like this to coincide with the fact that the symbol also trades near a support level, giving us one extra thing. Not only is it a bullish stock, which currently had a pullback, but number 3, it is also trading near a technically important level. So I'm going to do this as well. So I'm going to also add our Liquidity IQ setup column here and ask for a long bounce setup. And once I do this, we're down to only 49 stocks. Perfect. And I do like one last thing. I'm going to sort by the duration of the uptrend. So the first one here, for example, that comes in is Hubble Inc. B. All right. So what do we see here? A long-term bullish stock for 1,108 trading days. That's years of bullish action. But recently, you can see it here in a correction, all the way down to the support level here. All right. So let's see if this is of interest. I like it, but I think it's a bit too violent throughout. So I'm gonna not add this one to our short list because we have broken this support level in the past by a bit here. Price, didn't break it by too much, but it did happen. So I'm not too convinced that this will be holding up. So I'm going to skip this one. But as we will see, there are so many different candidates this week. All right, Motorola is our next one. I love this setup. Here's why. So let me just hide all the indicators to begin with. The first thing that you will see once I zoom in a little bit here, is that Motorola, of course, is very bullish. Very nicely bullish. But if you draw your parallel trend channel to this one here, you can see, first of all, it's a very clean channel. And we're making higher highs and higher lows very consistently. And right now, we are trading near the lower end of this trend channel. This very clean trend, in my opinion. Okay, so that's nice. Secondly, MA Rush shows it as bullish, of course. It's very bullish for 1,067 trading days. Trend Radar shows us a healthy pullback. And that's the kicker. Liquidity IQ shows the stock to trade right now near this support level. So 4 things are coming together for Motorola for a potential long entry. And I'm definitely going to add this one to our watch list. So a very interesting stock that we have here. So Motorola is going to be added. All right, next one, Mueller Industries. All right, Mueller also very bullish. You can see it here, experiencing a level 4 pullback and also trading near support. So this is all very nice, and it's kind of a similar setup here. Look at this nice bullish trend here. So yeah, also a good candidate. Pretty much the same scenario as for Motorola. To me, not as appealing because price has been hanging out here near the support level for quite some time. You can see it's been just chilling out here at this level. This sometimes can be interpreted as, a moment of weakness of the support level. It was not able to bounce price off quickly from it. So you can see it also here in our scanner. Since 7 trading days, so almost 2 weeks, price has been hanging out near this support level. So I'm going to skip this one. And there are other examples that we can use. FLR. All right, what is happening here? So here, yeah, it's quite a volatile stock trading near the support level. We already tested it here at the swing low. Now we're coming down again to the swing low again. This, you could bet on the fact that, hey, we might bounce off from this level. Not my favorite one either because the resistance level is very nearby as well, giving this trade very little room to the upside. So we're going to skip this one as well. But you will see we're going to have more examples and one more. Green light cap. Yeah, kind of a similar state here where, yeah, we are in an uptrend. It's just really big candles throughout. This is oftentimes not my favorite one, but look at this. How consistently this has worked out just by looking at Trend Radar. Let me make this a bit bigger. Actually, I kind of like this one now that I look at it a bit closer. Look how consistently Trend Radar since 2022, November 2022, Trend Radar, oh no, actually not, December 2022, we have not seen, oh no, I see it here. We have almost not seen any level 5 pullbacks. It's very rare. So we always recovered from a pullback. And now once again, we are in this pullback scenario. We are near support. And if you bet on the fact that history may repeat itself, this could indeed be an interesting long opportunity, especially perhaps if we come down a bit closer to this level. Consider a long entry with a tight stop loss. Yeah, definitely an interesting scenario. So I'm going to add this one here as well because I'm interested to see how this is going to be handled in the near-term future. So I'm going to add this one here as well to our hot list. All right. So that was the pullback scenario. We kind of combined it a little bit with our long bounce, but let's move on to our next setup. I hope you can see how you can find these setups quite easily. And I'm going to see if there are any questions. Nicholas, are there questions which we can address right now? We just see what's going on here. Nicholas, I can't hear you if you're there.
We have a question. Moishi, please send us an email. You can actually email me directly with your question about Liquidity IQ for Thinkorswim.
Perfect. And Nicholas, put this email address into the chat box as well.
Yeah. Sure thing. I'm just reading for other questions. Process. At what point, Daniel, do you move the symbols from the watch list to actually buy?
Well, that would be the market open on Monday because some of the symbols in our watch list, and you're going to see it. See it here in a bit. Sometimes we will say, hey, let's wait for price to come down a bit further. So that would be some, we have to see how market action unfolds. But for sure, you want to wait to see where market opens on Monday. We're on the weekend. There may be a bigger gap than normal. Let's see what happens. But if the market move confirms our setup and price is not too far off from our ideal entry point, yeah, I would just go ahead and pull the trigger off these symbols that survived our analysis at the end of this webinar. So right now we only have 2 symbols here. We're going to have a few more at the end. We're going to go through them one by one at the end to see which ones are the most interesting candidates.
Perfect. And that's all for questions, Daniel. We're good to go.
Perfect. All right. All right. So that was the first setup, but now let's move on to our second one. Our bounce setup. And as mentioned, we kind of mingled it in already with our healthy pullback. But now let's just look at bounces in general. Okay, so bounce basically is when price approaches a support level. Nicholas, did you say something? Approaches a support level and then bounces off this level towards the middle, in between support and resistance. We can see it here. All right, so how can we find these setups? So back to the dashboard, I'm going to clear out our filters by clicking this yellow button here. So all filters are gone. We're back to status quo, 4,922 trading days. Not trading days, okay. Symbols being tracked. Oh boy. Okay, so how can we find bounce setups? Because we want price to be near this support level. Well, this is indicated to us by our Liquidity IQ indicator. So let's go over here to our Liquidity IQ setup column and scan and filter for bounce setup. And long bounce are setups where price will bounce off to the upside, meaning it's coming off support. All right. So for example here, community health system, we can see it here. Yes, price is approaching or is near this support level. Or this one here, Humor. Price is near this support level. That's exactly how you can filter for these setups. And we can see here, wow, 816 stocks are currently near support. Okay, that's interesting. But you know what? That's not enough for me. I also want this stock to be bullish because I don't have too much confidence when we have a stock. I'm going to just give you an extreme example. Something like this, something like this, for example. Stock is very bearish. It's been bearish for forever. Price is coming down. Actually, maybe not this one. Let me find a better one. So I'm going to clear this filter real quick. This one here. Cannabis stock. Remember cannabis stock used to be a thing? That's all gone too, huh? So here, this stock has been coming down from miles ahead. Jesus, boy. That was a hype which did not pan out, huh? Unlike the crypto hype. Look at this stock. Where did this come from? It's just interesting to see. There's still... For those of you who have been following me a bit longer, you may remember the market rover from Serge Berger. And back then, around 2018, cannabis stocks were a big thing. And we actually built in a filter into the market rover to scan explicitly for cannabis stocks because they were such a big thing. But look at how this hype has subsided. Okay, so I'm going back here. This is a super bearish stock. So here, I don't have too much confidence that, just make this a bit bigger. Oh, that this level, which we've seen down here, is going to hold this resistance at a support level where the stock is trading right now because we are in such a big downtrend. Yeah. So this is not the ideal candidate, of course. I want my stock to be also bullish at the same time. So what I can do, instead of filtering for bearish stocks here in ME I'm going to search or filter for bullish stocks. All right. So now we have an interesting case where the stock needs to be bullish, yet trading near a support level. And then what I like to do is to sort from highest to lowest to find the stocks which have been trending up for the longest time and are currently trading near a support level. And one thing that we didn't look at yet, we looked at Hubble, I believe, at the beginning, because I also had a pullback. But one that we didn't see is Reliance Steel Aluminum. All right. So this one is technically not in a pullback state. Why is that? Oh, yeah. That's a good, you may ask yourself, hey, why is this not a pullback? Trend radar is 4 levels, actually 5 levels red here. Well, that's too much. Once it goes 5 levels, to us, that's too much of a pullback. You're not going to see it here in the scanner, and you see the dash. Instead, also, in this case, even though the stock is very bullish, it's been hanging out at the support level for too long for my taste, for 13 trading days. And as mentioned, sometimes this can be seen as a sign of weakness, that this level may not have the power to bounce price higher up. So we're going to skip this one, but let's go to Penske. Penske Automotive Group. Bullish for super long. A deeper pullback. And oftentimes you see these deeper pullbacks in a sideways phase. So, of course, you don't need a PhD in finance to see that this stock is somewhat sideways bound right now. And look at this. Sideways markets also have their appeal because you could just bet on the fact that price will stay in this sideways channel and simply going to stay range bound and bounce off these very well-defined levels. Kind of what we hear right now. And if you really want to put all the odds in your favor, you also trade in line with the overarching trend, which is very bullish. So we had this big move up. It is not uncommon that price will go into a sideways consolidation. You can see it very nicely here. We're now once again near a support level. And if price comes down even a bit further, maybe to 146, this could be an interesting, long opportunity, while keeping in mind that, hey, this move may just go until this resistance level here, because this stock is going to stay within the sideways phase. There's something to look into or to consider. So I'm going to add this one to our watch list just so we can see how this one pans out in the days and weeks ahead. So we looked at Motorola already. We looked at Mueller. Which one didn't we look at? Is there anything which we didn't? What about this one? AGM, Federal Agricultural Mortgage Group. Yeah. This one also comes off, these all-time highs. It seems to be sideways consolidating for a while. We're at this big support cluster. Here I would be a bit careful because it is not unlikely that this stock may actually go all the way down here to the support level before bouncing off. So we're going to skip this one for now.
Daniel, we have an interesting question from Robert. He wants to know, for the Liquidity IQ setup column filter, does the setup type that you select in that filter impact the indicators on the chart? So do your filters affect what the indicator shows on the chart?
No, they don't. It's always the same indicators with the same configuration. So there's no effect on that.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. All right, perfect. Okay, so that was that, but now let's move on. Let's go to our next setup, the zone break setup. So we had bounce. Found some interesting setups there, but now let's look at the zone break. Nothing lasts forever. No resistance level will last forever. No support level will last forever. Eventually these are broken. But this can be another opportunity for us as well, because once broken, we may see a nice follow through in the direction of the breakout. I can see it here. support was broken and price went down quite consistently in the aftermath. So how can we find these setups? Once again, back to our dashboard, clearing up all the scanners. And now we're going to go back to our Liquidity IQ setup column here, and we will filter by long break, meaning a break above resistance to the upside, or to the long side. So we're going to filter it. And as you can see, only 135 stocks have survived this filter criteria, which is not so surprising because the overall market is kind of in a sideways phase, and it's kind of rare that a stock, really broke out from it. Okay, but let's look at some examples here. Let's look at this one here, O'Reilly Automotive. So very interesting one. And in fact, we had this one, I believe, was it last week, maybe the week before, on our radar. Back then, it was a nice zone break retrace setup. Remember we said, hey, this could be an interesting long opportunity, especially if price comes all the way down to this level here. It didn't do it exactly to that level. It went, it bounced off earlier, but it was beautifully done from a technical point of view. We had the zone break, price retraced. It almost filled this gap. I think this was also part of our motivation. This gap here might be filled before bouncing off. So a nice bounce, but now we're trading above this level. And here, I don't think it's unlikely that this bounce off move will continue to higher prices. Of course, this stock being very, very expensive at more than $1,000 per share price. So this is an interesting one. I'm going to add this one to our watch list just to see what's going to happen in the aftermath. All right, SoundHound. Let's look at this one. So SoundHound is also in a long break scenario, and you guys may remember this one from our options alerts, where we had, I believe, a strangle at some point for SoundHound. So we had our zone break here. Interestingly, price initially went up, but then after this initial move, it's now retracing down to this broken resistance level, which may now act as support. So here I definitely would wait until we actually get to this level. I think it's not unlikely. If we do, we may see another lag higher up. Even though this move was quite parabolic. We went from like $4 or $5 all the way to 24, now perhaps down to 10. Now it's kind of catching a falling knife, so you may have to be a bit careful with that one. Arista Networks. This one we also had in our list, I believe, at some point at least. Here we had the zone break. We broke above resistance. We gapped up. The gap was filled. Bounced off again, and now we're trading nicely above this resistance level since 12 trading days. Okay, so this is how you can find these stocks trading above resistance. But wouldn't it be nice to find stocks where the zone break just recently happened? It would be nice. So what we can do is we can leverage this number right next to our setup here in the Liquidity IQ setup column. So for example, here, long break 12, showing us that, hey, this stock has been in a long break state for 12 trading days. Here, long break 1, feeder cattle, meaning we just had the breakout. We just broke above and cleared this resistance level at the last candle. And these are the setups which I'm primarily interested in for today. So what I can do is I can sort this column from lowest to highest to see the ones which currently are having a breakout. So we're not going to look at this futures here because it is rare that somebody swing trades futures. So I'm going to skip this one. In fact, I'm going to add quickly an asset class filter here to only focus on stocks and ETFs in this case. So we have this enabled. I can now hide this filter. This was actually a question from a user early on. So even if you hide this column, the filter will stay active. So I can now hide this column. It's hidden, but the filter, the asset class filter to filter only for ETFs and stocks is still active. So that's a nice trick, which allows you to keep your scanner very neat while still having the filters applied. All right, so the first one now that comes up is this one here, ITRN. So ITRN, let me just quickly see why this would be in a long break state. I see what's happening here. So here we went below this candle here, went below this resistance level. So technically it went below again and then up again. And this is the first candle where the zone break happens. Not the cleanest setup for me because we had these deeper corrections here. I'm going to skip this one for now. The Geo group. So this is more of a setup which I was looking for. Here we had a clean zone break at the last candle. We broke about this resistance level. Let me quickly see what has happened in the past. Yeah, a nice uptrend. And yeah, we may see another leg higher to a higher level. So I'm going to add this one here also to our short watch list. And then United Airlines Holdings. Wow, what a comeback, huh? The airlines, and especially United. We had a prior zone break here with a great follow through. Price really jumped up now to this new level here. We just broke above this resistance level, which was caused by the swing high. We broke above it, and to me, this could also be an interesting opportunity to enter into this long trade. Ideally, I'd like to see this go up a little bit, then retrace and enter on the pullback. To me, that would give me a bit more confidence because we are trading quite far away from our moving averages. Look at these lines here. Price is overextended. Oftentimes it makes sense for price to drop down a little bit first before enter into this trade. Okay, and one more, and I found this one here because I'm also looking at the MA Rush duration here. Boston Scientific. So this stock is very bullish for a long time. If you look at the history here, it's a very nice, beautiful uptrend, very straight up almost, with very little corrections throughout. You can see it here. And we finally now broke above this resistance level. And I can easily see that this stock will continue its upwards move into 2025. So you may consider entering long this stock here with your stop loss just below this broken resistance level, which is now acting as support, perhaps around 90, in the anticipation that newer highs will be made. I also like the fact that, we did have, actually, now that I look at this a bit closer, we did have a bit of a gap here. So here, what we can do is to wait a little bit more, perhaps an attempt for the stock to fill this gap. This is often the case. Price will come down exactly to this level here, and we can enter on the retrace. So let's actually let me quickly draw. Where are my shapes? Draw a little angle here. So if we get to this level here to fill this gap, that would be the ideal case to enter into this long trade if this happens. All right, but nonetheless, I'm going to add this one to our watch list. All right, edit. Perfect. But we have one more setup to look for. And let me just quickly see if there are any questions.
We have one question from Robert, Daniel.
Yeah.
He's asking if you could explain what the number beside the liquidity setup means. So I think perhaps he means what's the number showing in the column for the setup.
Yeah, exactly. That's the duration for how many bars, how many candles this setup has been there. So in this case, this stock is in a long break state since 2 trading days. You can see it here. We broke above resistance at this candle here. So, on Thursday and on Friday, we stayed above it. So this is exactly what it means. It's the duration. Or here, an extreme example, Jeffrey Financial Group has been in a long break state when we break above resistance for a long, long time. Actually, let me quickly enable the symbols again here, the zone break labels, and the symbol too. You can see it here. The zone break happened here, so a long time ago. So this stock has been in a long break state for a long time. And in fact, for how many? 135 trading days. So if we were to count these candles back to this zone break here, we would get to exactly 135. So that's the answer to that. By the way, that's an interesting one here. Did we have this one for our level 4 pullback? It's definitely an interesting one. We had this big gap down, maybe because of earnings or whatever may have happened. And we have this gap, and this gap maybe now filled to the upside. while having this nice level 4 pullback. So I'm going to add this one as well to our watch list as an interesting candidate. Perfect. All right. So let's move on to our last setup. So this was zone break, but we also have zone break retrace. So after a break, it is not uncommon that the price will initially go up, but then retrace back to the broken resistance level, which is now acting as support. And I see this oftentimes as an initial fake out of the market. Try to fake you out. It goes back initially, and then the upwards move only really continues. So how can we find these setups? So once again, back to our scanner. I'm going to clean up all the filters. So we're back to our 4,922 symbols. And I will choose under Liquidity IQ, the long break retrace filter here. So I click on it, and only 18 stocks, wow, have survived this filter of our 4,922. That's quite extreme. All right, so what are these stocks? I'm going to filter here from highest to lowest. The first one, Darden Restaurants. Bullish for 1,061 trading days, so for years. But recently, it got into, it made all-time highs. It broke above resistance and then retraced down to its broken resistance level, now acting as support. So to me, a very interesting candidate for a long entry here. We may see a bit of a for more bearish price action, perhaps downwards to, where is my, I keep forgetting where my, there we go. Yeah, towards this level here. If it does, it could be a great opportunity to enter long into this trade. The only thing that you may have to be a bit careful about is this big gap up here. There may be an attempt to fill it, so maybe give this trade a bit more room, but I do see this as a very nice bullish setup. So I'm going to add this one to our watch list. All right. Okay, next one on the list, Build a Bear Workshop. Now remember this one. This has been on our scans a few times. So here we broke above resistance. We made all-time highs, but now the retracement back to this broken resistance level. It's also a level 3 pullback on trend radar. And if I look at the overall volatility, the symbol here, it's been an uptrend for a long time. These bigger corrections are not uncommon, so we have to keep this one in mind. So we see a bit of a deep correction here. If history is any indication, this may get actually a bit deeper. We may see a patch like this on our trend radar indicator. So if we see price perhaps to come down to this level here, this could be an interesting opportunity to also enter along into this trade. But here I would like to see some evidence first that this retracement actually is coming to an end. Perhaps a couple of green candles to see, hey, this uptrend is moving up, is continuing. Because these corrections, as if you look into the past year, they can be quite deep. We may see the same thing here again. All right. And perhaps one more, AGYS, also an uptrend. We made all-time highs here. Oops. And we are now, trading near this broken resistance level. But once again, this has been going on for quite some time, for like 8 days already, so quite long. So maybe not my favorite setup, because this bounce should have happened a bit quicker off these levels. And actually, one thing you can do, guys, is you can ask the scanner to only show us filters where it's current, where this retrace happened at the last bar. So you can go here to our filters and enter or add to it the current filter. Once done, we only see symbols where the setup happened in the very last bar. So Darden we already had. What about Affirm Holdings? That's an interesting one. So Affirm Holdings just recently retraced in the proximity of its broken resistance level. And to me, this could be a great opportunity to enter long here. Actually, this was in my preparation when I looked at these symbols before on my list here. Very beautiful setup here, and this could be a great opportunity to enter long into this trade. If price gets to this level here, long could be something to consider. All right, and perhaps one more. So you want to add this one also to our watch list. So the QQQs we already had, we discussed them, and perhaps Seneca Foods Corp. Let me just look here. Bullish for 243 trading days. Yeah, it's been going up nicely. We do see a retracement here. And yeah, once again, if price actually gets to this level, this could be an interesting long opportunity here as well. All right. Perfect. So I'm going to add this one as well to our watch list. All right. Are there any questions, Nicholas, at this point before we can review the symbols which are currently in our watch list?
Yeah, Daniel, we have one question. Robert, the question is, can we see liquidity IQ with super signals? I think that's something we're going to leave to our lunch and learn. Right,
Yeah.
Daniel?
Yeah, because here we're going to scan with our Liquidity View dashboard. For the super signals, of course, you can apply Liquidity View to the actual Trading View platform and also super signals to it and to see if how things line up. But Nicholas, yeah, please take a note of this. We can cover this topic in our lunch and learn session on Tuesday.
And David wants to know, do you ever add any other standard indicator to the chart to help you use Liquidity IQ?
Never. The only thing I do is I do some technical drawing on my chart. I, in this case here, perhaps draw a trend channel. I like to do it to see how clean this trend is and how well the lower and upper ends of the trend channel are respective in the past or are respected in the past. So that's something I like to see if things are clean or not. But that's pretty much it. I don't use any standard indicators.
Perfect. And Aubrey is having an issue. Maybe, Aubrey, you can send us an email. I'll put our email in the chat. But they're having an issue using the long break retrace setup filter.
Yeah, Aubrey, maybe put in the chat what the issue is exactly. Actually, by the way, guys, most often, if you don't see anything in the filter, if nothing is coming up, there are two reasons for this. Reason number one could be some other filter is activated, which you currently don't see. So, for example, here's an example of this. So let's say I'm also showing, let's say the volume column here, and I say, hey, volume should be above $100 million. Okay, nothing shows up because this volume filter, 100 million shares traded, this volume filter is not satisfied. And sometimes it's not so obvious that this volume filter is activated, especially if it's not on the scanner. So what you could do if you could hide volume here, you don't see any yellow filter icon besides Liquidity IQ, long week retrace and current, nothing is shown here. You may say, hey, this is not working. Well, it's because there's some other filters enabled. So if you go to your columns configurator here, you see even the volume is not shown, the filter is still active. So one way to solve all of this is to simply click this yellow icon here. We'll get rid of all the filters and start from scratch. That could be reason number one. Reason number two could be that you have something written in the search box here. Maybe you search for like, I don't know, Tesla in the past. You forgot that there's something in there. And then you're looking for a setup like, zone break retrace. Nothing comes up because, this Tesla is not satisfied. So that could be another reason for that. Any other questions, Nicholas?
Yeah, we have one question from Gerald. He wants to know, what's the relationship between the zone break line and the resistance zone? So I think he's asking, what's the relationship between the zone we see around the nearest levels and the level itself?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Good point. So yeah, let's have a look at that. So let me just look at this guy here. Even though I heavily annotated this one already, actually, there's a way to hide my drawings. Little trick here. If you click on this thing here, you hide all your drawings. They're just hidden. You can re-enable them. So I'm going to hide them. All right. And now I'm going to go to full screen mode. Okay. So here we have our resistance level. And you see this little box here. Why is there a box? Because don't think of resistance as like a stick in the sand or a line in the sand, as Nicholas would say, which is exactly at this price point. This is at 68.81. If you look at the thing here, it's around 68.81. This level here. It's not exact. It's not an exact science. You should think about support and resistance as zones, and zones grow and shrink with the current volatility of the symbol. And how big we estimate, or when I say we, the indicator estimates this zone to be, can be seen by this box here. This is based on the current volatility. It will grow and shrink depending on how volatile the symbol is. But right now, this zone stretches 0.6 to 67.42. So this is kind of the zone where price could come into before it bounces off.
Perfect. Yeah. And I'm just checking to see if we have any questions before we go forward. Second, my Zoom is bugging out a little bit. Okay, so we answered from Gerald, and then Aubrey. Aubrey, please send us an email. I responded to you with the address. And Daniel, I think we're good to go forward.
Perfect. And Siegfried, I'm going to get to your question. Here's a question for Scan IQ. That's because it's the Scan IQ version that is kind of a basic version that we have with a broker called CapTrader. It's a light version of this. So if you want to see all the symbols, you need to go to our regular Liquidity IQ Pro version. So with Scan IQ Pro, you will get it. Okay. All right. So let's now look at where were we? Let's look at our hot list for today. So I'm going to go down here to our setups of January 11th today. So we have found, once this loads, I'm going to clean up all the filters. We have 11 setups. That's quite a bit. All right. So let's go through these ones quickly and qualify the ones which we find most interesting. Let's just go chronologically. Let's find the ones which we started off with. For example, here, our Motorola setup, which is currently in a pullback 4 state. Great setup. I said this. I really like it. It's in a clean channel. I'll put back the drawings here. We are at the lower end of the channel, and we are near support, and we have a level 4 pullback and trend radar. So to me, a great long entry opportunity. So I'm going to add this one for sure to our hot list for next week. So I'm going to add this one here. Just going to say add the screenshot. I won't type here. And by the way, guys, if you are new, you can also dictate your trading notes here. So these are the trading notes. Just adding this screenshot to it. And the cool thing is the screenshot will be added with all your annotations. Yeah, and then if you wanted to add some additional notes to it, you can just simply dictate it in here. And this dictation tool, this is for the German guys among us, this dictation tool works in German and English. And depending on which language you have selected up here as the language for your dashboard, the dictation tool will either listen to German or to English, which is pretty cool. So if you haven't tried it out yet, I encourage you to perhaps give it a shot. So definitely Motorola, it's an interesting symbol. Okay, this one here, Penske Automotive. Yeah, this was the classic one where we are in this sideways move. I like it too. I would give this one room all the way until at least this level here, 140. I do anticipate a bounce off this level to perhaps 170, but here you would need to give it a bit more room, at least towards this lower end of this sideways channel here. But I don't trade these subs personally, so I'm going to skip it, but definitely we're going to look at it if this bounce is going to materialize itself in the next week. So interesting one. Just keep in mind this may be a bit restrained by these upper resistance levels around 173 and 179. Greenlight cap, a long bounce setup. Yeah, we're coming off these all-time highs here down to this level, a level 4 pullback in trend radar. And yeah, this is an interesting one too. Yeah, a nice strong uptrend here. Trend radar consistently stayed within level 4 pullbacks so far. So I'm going to add this one too. If we see price come down, where's my annotation tool? There we go. Nope. There we go. So price comes down to this level. Let's enter long here for a nice bounce setup. So I'm going to add this one here as well to our trade notes. All right. All right. Next one, the QQQs. All right. So this is in here. We're closing it. Our QQQs. So long break retrace. We're right at this support level, which formerly was resistance. I like it. I think that we're going to see a bit of a rally leading towards the second half of January this month. So I'm going to add this one also as a beautiful long break retrace setup. I think the week is going to start strong. We did have the job reports, but this is priced in now. Price may go up further, even though the outlook for lowering interest rates may not be as promising. I think price tech is going to continue its upwards move, especially after this nice retracement. So adding this one here as well to our hot list. All right. Always takes a couple of seconds for it to be added, but that's fine. Darden Restaurants. Yeah, I like it. If price gets down to here, I may consider going long here. The only, fear in quotes is that this big gap here, there may be an attempt to fill this gap. So I'm going to stay on the sidelines. You guys do what you feel like, but if price goes down here, this could be an interesting opportunity for an aggressive entry if your stop loss just below this level. I'm a bit cautious. I may see price trying to fill this gap here. If it does, this upwards move may be a bit postponed. How about that? So I'm going to skip this one for now. Affirm Holdings. Yes. So to me, a really interesting candidate of a zone break retrace here. So I'm going to add this one to our watch list. Even at this level right now, I think it's an interesting candidate, especially if you trade options. So you may get your puts your calls at a very, very reasonable price right now. If we stay above this level, I think in the medium term, we're going to see another push higher up. If we break it, our next step is all the way down here at 22. So even for a strangle, we're giving out these strangle alerts every Sunday. This could be an interesting strangle idea to perhaps strangle it. Yeah, with options of expirations, perhaps a month or 2 months out. Strangle price perhaps around 57 for the calls and maybe 48 for the puts. Put it together, and if price moves in either direction, you're going to benefit off that strangle. So I'm going to add this one as well to our watch list here. All right.
We have a question here, Daniel, from Oops, 1 second. We have a question from Gerald, and I think he's talking about the actual resistance and support levels, but he wants to know, this question was from Udo. He wants to know, what are the fine lines above candles?
Fine. Okay. Give me just 1 second. I wonder why this was not added properly. We may have stumbled upon another bug in our dashboard. Let me just try one. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now all good. The fine lines above candles. You mean these wicks here, Udo? I kind of don't think you mean this. Maybe clarify what you mean by this. Or do you mean these lines here? This little dashed line? That's just the current price. Actually, if you go to your settings in your chart, you can disable that one here somehow. Oh, this one, price line. So if you disable this one here, it's going to disappear. So if this was the line, see, these are lines related to your chart. High-low numbers. Also, these are the high-lows in recent history. So TradingView, the TradingView chart here adds these automatically, but these are not caused by our indicators. And you can disable them here in the symbol settings.
And Daniel, one question from Gerald. He was curious, what statistics are you planning on providing this year when you add them to the dashboard?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure yet. It's definitely going to be some kind of win rate statistics, historically speaking, how well a setup has been working out, but not just any setup. Things need to come together. So for example, for a long break retrace setup, I want the stock to be bullish, rush at the same time. I want my risk reward ratio to be my favor and so forth. So while thinking about this, right now, we're not even there yet. Right now, we are at the stage of getting all the historical data for symbols. So if you scroll back here in our chart, we're only having like 5 or 6 or 7 years of data. But I want to go further than this. I want to have like 20 years of data. Not just to analyze the statistics for the setups, but also to look for seasonality patterns. Something that we're definitely going to be adding, for example, to see, hey, statistically speaking, in which month maybe the SPY goes up the strongest, or in which period of the year, in which quarter, maybe Apple performs the best. historically speaking. So I think having these seasonality insights could be very powerful and something to be added to your decision-making process. So this is where we are heading to in future versions of the dashboard. And we're like preparing all the groundwork to make this work right now.
Thanks, Daniel.
Cool. All right, so let's just quickly finish our list here. Seneca Foods. Yeah, an interesting one at the lower end of the trend channel. I would wait a little bit here to see price to come down to this level, but overall, yeah, definitely a nicely defined uptrend. I guess we're going to add this one here as well to our list for next week. It's a nice clean uptrend after this pullback. This could be an interesting re-entry opportunity into this long trade. All right, Jefferies Financial Corp. Yeah, it's coming. It's very bullish, as you can see it here. We did have this big pullback, a level 4 pullback as per trend. Radar, we can see the first 4 rows here are red, and we have this gap. So here, if I see some bullish candles on Monday or Tuesday, I would consider entering long here in an attempt to fill this gap and ultimately to push to new highs. So, but I want to see some evidence first. I don't want to catch a falling knife at this point. We don't know where this is going to stop. There's no nearby level here. For what we know, we may actually see a gap fill off this gap here. You can see it. So I would wait to see if we see some bullish action in the next couple of days. So here I'm going to stay on the sidelines. O'Reilly Automotive, yeah, beautiful one. A long break. This move already has happened a little bit. So here I'm also gonna wait. We considered entering when we were on the zone break retrace state here. Now the move has already started. If you're not in this trade, I think it's a bit too late for this one. Boston Scientific, the big breakout. Yeah, here I want to wait until we pull back a little bit. I think we're gonna see a gap fill down to these levels here to fill this big up gap here. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe somebody can look it up. Perhaps earnings happened on Thursday. If we see a retracement down here, definitely an interesting opportunity. But here also, we want to wait. We're going to revisit this in the next couple of weeks. And then the Geo Group. Yeah, the zone break just happened here. It's a really big candle. Of course, Friday was very volatile with a doji here. I will also stay on the sidelines. Let's see what happens with this stock. With zone breaks, you never know. They might be short-lived, and we're going to see this retracement. I prefer entering on the retracement itself. So also here, I'm going to wait to see how this move will unfold. All right, but nonetheless, I think we have a very nice short list of symbols that we can consider for the next week. And hopefully, some of these will pan out. All right, so now let's open up the room. And actually, before I do this, a quick reminder. If you joined us a little bit late, don't forget about our ebook, The Power of Three. You can get it at this link here. This link is also in the chat window. It's completely free, and it will detail the key setups of our Liquidity View dashboard, or some of these key setups at least. Talking about the dashboard real quick, if you have not access to it yet, you can try it out for a full week, completely free. Simply go to tradingindicators.com/view to get a 1-week free trial of the full version of the dashboard. And of course, should you decide to stay on board, we have interesting monthly and yearly options for the dashboard as well. And just 2 things, just in case you missed it. Our recording of our last live trading workshop on Friday is online. And boy, Nicholas, what a nice day that was. Super exciting, volatile day. We took 2 short trades of Bitcoin in that workshop. How we found these trades using our indicators, you can rewatch now on our YouTube channel. So the link here is also available. And if you want to give Volume IQ on NT8, which is now available a shot, here's the link, tradingindicators.com/volume-special. You will not only get a 25% discount, but you will also be invited to our next live trading workshop and a special bootcamp on how to configure Volume IQ on NT8. And there we're going to cover topics like scanning. How can you scan for setups? How can you define automated strategies using the NT8 strategy builder, and how you can define alerts based on certain conditions. So super exciting bootcamp coming up on this topic as well. All right. So with this, let me go back to the dashboard and ask, are there any symbols you guys would like to look into? So let me also look here at my Q&A box. Nicholas, is there anything?
I didn't see any symbol requests yet then.
Okay, so while you guys are adding some symbol requests, Udo's wondering, do you consider earnings? Yes, we do, actually. But more in the sense that, you know, we should be aware that earnings are coming out. So what you do have here in our columns, I was hiding this column by default, but if you enable the earnings date column here, you can see it here. You can see, hey, when are earnings coming out? And in fact, Geo, good point. We didn't, end up taking this trade here, but Geo has earnings coming out on the 3rd. Oh, this is February. I thought it was tomorrow or the day after. Oh, this is only February. Never mind then. So here the earnings are still about a month out. But for some of our other setups, maybe you want to take into account, hey, earnings are coming up. I want to be extra careful because who knows what's going to be happening in earnings. This is how you can use this earnings dates column here. All right. All right. So some setups. And John, yeah, thank you, John. Nice to see you, John. Happy New Year. And okay, Aubrey RCC. Okay, the symbol. All right, so let's have a look. RCC. Where is the symbol? Do we have the symbol, Aubrey? Did I put a filter on? I don't think we have it. Even though this kind of sounds like a familiar symbol. But guys, by the way, if a symbol is missing, you don't have to wait too much longer because soon we are going to be adding about 3,000 new symbols to our scanner. So this is already also in progress and should be available in the next couple of weeks. Oh, Aubrey meant RCS. Okay, all right. RCS. This one here. Range Resources Corporation. No, this is also not the right one. So let me just type it in. Range. This one here, RRC. Thanks for the round trip, Aubrey. All right, RRC. That's the one you have in mind. Yeah, super bullish stock. We had this a few times on our horizon. And, it's very bullish, but we are approaching this resistance level up here. So I would be careful. It's been sideways after a big push higher. I think we discussed this a few times in the past. Yeah, we went out here, then sideways all the way. And now once again, we are approaching this upper range of the sideways channel. So be careful. We may see another push downwards because of the sideways action. If we power above this level, above 40, and make all-time highs, then this could be a great long entry opportunity. But until this happens, I would be careful. All right, Costco. Yes, Costco was also on our horizon. I think we even discussed it last week. I forget when it was. Let me see, when did I annotate this screenshot last? On the 21st of December, we annotated this one. Okay, so like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So Costco, and I was looked at like this at the time. Costco is in this nice upwards channel. And look what happened here. Beautiful. And I think I have a feeling we discussed this setup last week or the week before. Look how beautifully it bounced off the lower end of this trend channel. Wow, no, continuing its upwards move. So we definitely called out Costco at some point as a long entry opportunity. Yeah, very bullish to me. So great symbol. GE. All right, so GE, General Electric. All right, GE. All right, what do we see here? So bullish for 489 trading days, currently trading near a support level. As we can see it here, the long bounce state. All right, yeah. And let's see what's happening here. To me, this is my feeling, it feels like a consolidation phase of this all-time high is about to start. Oftentimes, when you have these big pushes high, price will consolidate in some sideways action for quite some time. So this may as well happening now. I kind of see these support levels forming up around price here. I think we're going to see some higher levels, but maybe it's somewhat range bound for a while. But yeah, it could definitely be an interesting long bounce opportunity. But just be aware that this may be, a bit short-lived until we bounce back and forth. We're going to see some back and forth in the future. That's my feeling, at least for GE. Happy New Year. CMCSA. That seems like a symbol we may not have. CMC. Oh, we do have it. Oh, Comcast. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a long symbol. All right. Comcast. All right. What do we have here? It just went bearish of MA Rush. All right. Yeah, it looks bearish to me. Right at a critical juncture here at around 36. Let me see what else is going on here. Yeah, it's I mean, it's a wild ride here in Comcast, some up and down, prices being very sideways, not this lower end. I mean, if you were to gamble, you can think about the bounce off this level. If this level does not hold, especially since MA Rush now is also bearish, next stop will be all the way down here. So here I would wait to see what the next couple of days are showing you. So if you see a bit of a bounce, yeah, maybe enter long towards a push towards this level here. If not, if this level fails, we break below, well, the next stop could as well be here around 28. Yes, Siegfried Trend Radar is also included in our Pro version. That's right. TDW. All right. TDW. Tight water. So bearish for 33 days, currently in a long bounce state. All right, let's see what happened here. So definitely momentum has changed from bullish. It was very bullish before. Oh, look at this. Let me just go back a little bit to get more context. So MA Rush gave us a bullish signal here. When was that? In January 2022, went all the way up, but now it's switched over just somewhat recently, about 2 months ago, to bearish. Yeah, this deep correction, yeah, unfolded. I would not make a call on this one. I have a feeling since that move was so big, and if you draw some FIB levels here, you can find them. FIB retracements. Let's see, this was the swing low. How far did this correction go down to? To 61 point. Okay. All right. Actually, to 61.8%. So if you buy into FIB levels, and I like to put them on my chart as for additional manual analysis, you may say, hey, we're just bouncing off this FIB level now, and we may see higher highs. Okay. So if this is the end of this correction, we may now see a continued upwards move. Interesting, especially since we are getting off support here. Okay, CRMT. Okay, back to this one. CRMT. America's Car Mart. Bearish for 305 trading days. Currently trading in between support and resistance in a magnet zone. All right. I mean, here, yeah, well, bearish since here this is, but this bearish trend continued for quite some time. If anything here, where are we? You may look for a price move towards this support zone here. Definitely a bearish one. If we see a bit of a pullback, price to the upside, I would consider shorting again for a move towards this level down here. All right. Yeah, Gerald, that's a good idea. We're going to add this one to Gerald is saying, hey, would it be possible to be able to filter our symbols to only look at S&P 500 or only look at NASDAQ 100, stuff like this, or Dow Jones? Yes, that's well noted, and we're thinking about adding this, Gerald. Good point. All right. Barry for a deck. And we're going to perhaps take one more symbol afterwards before we conclude this webinar. Deckers Outdoor, bullish for 579 trading days. Beautiful zone break signal here. Price just really moved up afterwards. Overextended right now. If we see a pullback on trend radar, right now there's no pullback whatsoever. But if we get a level 3 or level 4 pullback, yeah, definitely an interesting symbol to potentially enter long. And if price actually goes down to this broken level here, this could also be a nice zone break retrace entry. But right now, overextended, we're too far away from our averages. Stay on the sidelines for now. At least I would. Yeah, the auto Fibonacci indicator by Ninja Trader. Yeah, we take a look, Moshi, to see if we can integrate this. Thank you for pointing this out. Okay, Suncor. Last one, SU. Okay. So, Suncor Energy. Ooh. Interesting. What's going on here? Bullish forever. Just coming off this low here. To me, it feels like just by looking at these levels, see, we are in a sideways phase. We're coming off probably a strong move upwards, and now we're sideways. You know, the trick of these sideways phases are we never know how long they're gonna last. Right now, I would not do anything. If we approach this level, maybe you think about a short. See price shorting, bouncing off these levels. Once we're down to perhaps these levels again, consider a long if you want to play the sideways move. But right now, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. I would stay on the sidelines for this one. And Aubrey, are you saying you have a super signal on Suncor? I'm not sure what that golden triangle refers to, but yeah. But from a technical point of view, we are in some kind of a sideways phase right now. Okay. Yeah, but we can look at this in our lunch and learn. Here we don't use our super signals on this scanner. But if it's a bullish super signal to the long side, just be aware that if you play this long, it may bounce off this level. So this is could be a good target, could be around this level here at 41. All right, guys, perfect. This concludes our live trading or live scanning session, I should say. Thanks so much for all these symbols. Super interesting, and all the suggestions. All will be taken into account. For now, if you don't see too many quick updates right now, it's because we're having this big infrastructural change for the dashboard to be able to bring in more data for our seasonality analysis and more symbols as well to our dashboard. So once that's done, you're going to see more frequent updates again. All right. So with this, guys, a quick last reminder, check out our recording of the live trading workshop. It was super much fun. 2 hours of live trading in the aftermath of the non-farm payrolls yesterday. And if you want to give the NT8 version a try, go to tradingindicators.com/volume-special and enjoy a 25% discount off our indicator to celebrate its arrival on Ninja Trader 8. All right, guys, with this, thank you so much for attending. It's been fun. I need a break of talking. This is my second webinar this morning in a row. I had the German version of this one at 10 a.m. This is the second one. So I'm going to take a break from talking. Thank you guys so much. If there was a question that we missed out, don't worry. Simply send us a quick note via our homepage, tradingindicators.com. Go to contact, put your question there, and this will end up directly in my inbox. I'm going to make sure to answer all your questions as soon as possible. All right, guys, with this, enjoy your weekend. Happy trading and exciting new trading week ahead. I'm super excited to see what the markets will do. Until then, guys, trade safe. Thanks, Niklas, for your assistance. Bye, guys.